From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I'm the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Thursday, April 25th, 2024. The time has come. I am so sick and tired of hearing the BS, the banana in the tailpipe, whatever you guys want to call this NFL draft, where people are just going crazy that there's going to be 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. And they're all going to be stars. And J.J. McCarthy's going 3 to the Patriots. And Minnesota's coming in, or the Giants are coming in to get McCarthy, and yada, 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 yada. Oh, and don't forget, Michael Penix and Bo Nix are both going in the first round as well. So glad Riley's here, because I'd be jumping off the Bourne Bridge by now. So I'm going to do a little venting. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to actually bring the live DraftKings sportsbook odds to the page, and me and Riley are going to be talking through the first round here. Shout out to Julian Edlow from DraftKings. We had a show this morning at 10:30, and we had some good Patriot talk about May. We had McCarthy, and he gave out some steam on Bo Nix, and he gave out some steam on some other plays. So if you missed that show, jump on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. It's right up there. You can replay that. But first and foremost, shout out to our proud sponsor and partnership with WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, head on over to Google Play or wherever you download the apps. It's free. You know this spiel by now. And if you haven't done it, shame on you. You're wasting time. You're wasting effort. You really need to start turning your wagers into investments, not entertainment. Save that for Trent, Vegas Dave, and all the other cast of characters. And if you want to join this team, send an email to affiliate@wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Travis, Zach, who are in Vegas, and Zach on his way to a big show Friday with Mr. Meltzer. These guys are doing it. So if you're not joining us now, please jump on board. Caboose is still open. We're leaving the train station real soon. So without further ado, the co-host of this show, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. What's up, Bri?
Good afternoon, my friend. Happy draft day, finally, as you said. Yeah, I am ready for this damn thing to get along. Not only because I'm excited for some of the picks, some of the teams to make some picks here, but as you said, to finally stop hearing these concocted narratives, if you will, on a lot of these guys that you never know where they're coming from. Are they, the camp of these guys trying to push this narrative so that their guys' draft stock rises, or are other teams trying to strengthen the other guys' draft picks so their opponents think that they need to take these guys? It's sickening, and obviously JJ McCarthy was one that we talked they tried to push as a potential contender for a top 3 pick, and Obviously, we'll see. But then you mentioned obviously Michael Penix and Bo Nix. Bo Nix these last few days, you would have thought he was obviously very good in college, but I mean, there's obviously a lot of flaws with him as well. So I'm excited. I'd be shocked if we get like you said 6 quarterbacks going in the first round. I think there's some teams that could the Rams take a successor to Matt Stafford? Sure, but. They also are at a point where they could probably get a good pick or two and make a run at this thing with Matt Stafford still in the building here for a couple of years here. So I'm curious to see how it goes. We've had a lot to talk about, obviously. A couple of non-draft NFL news with the Trey Hendrickson trade request that I don't think you and I got to talk about. I think that was yesterday afternoon about this time. So interested to see if anything as far as big trades like that happen, kind of like we saw with the A.J. Brown trade a few years ago. So interested if we get any big blockbuster trades like that tonight. That I don't know, and I'm curious to see. But aside from that, I'm excited to get things going here tonight.
And again, I think on the Pat McAfee show, someone up there bet the over 6.5 trades. And again, we're expecting fireworks. Usually when we expect fireworks, they never happen. The A.J. Brown trade came out of nowhere. The move up of Detroit to get Jamar Gibbs came out of nowhere. Again, these kids haven't played a game since December. Penix played in January, but the other kids and Bo, no. Bo lost to Washington. So yeah, they had their combines or whatever you call it. But my point is, they had their 30 for 30s and all that bullshit, the dinners and yada yada. They probably played Yahtzee and bingo too. Who the hell knows what they did? But my point is, the stock that has happened here, the ups and the downs. The McCarthy move is comical in this regards. From a Patriots standpoint, you want to take, we're assuming, Drake May, and the McCarthy jibber makes sense because you want to add another quarterback in there. So in other words, I have Minnesota all in on Drake May, all in. Okay, but you need to add the Giants into the mix because if they can't get May, and only one guy can get May, so the Patriots are going to trade May. Well, Minnesota or the Giants, one of those guys are going to lose out. So you got to gain that steam on McCarthy because you need more than one team. And here's what's going to happen, guys. Okay, it's 4:39. What time's the draft start? 7 or 8?
I worry a little different zones. I honestly was going to check for it myself because I'm not totally positive. I believe 8 your time is when the draft will begin tonight, so 7 my time.
Okay, so the first pick, and here's the funny, they do the big intro, right? Blah, 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 and you hear the ding, 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 and now Washington, you're on the clock, so we're going to sit another 10 minutes till, 9:59 when Washington walks up to and then announces. But here's my point. At the end of the day, Caleb goes 1, Jaden Daniels goes 2. The Patriots wait for 10 minutes, and they take Drake May. Okay, so there's your 1, 2, 3 right there. And then when they finally have a presser, the Patriots are going to say, "We never got the offer we wanted. Drake May was our guy the whole time." Now, does Arizona sit and stay and take Harrison? I think they're going to, unless they get blown away by Minnesota or the Giants. Then the game is in the Chargers' hand. We know they want to trade back. They need to gain some assets. So does Minnesota now jump in with the Chargers and say, all right, we're going to give you A, B, C, and D so they can get McCarthy? And if that doesn't happen, the Giants sit at 6 and they decide, are we going to take Neighbors or are we going to take a quarterback in McCarthy?
Right, and I do. My prediction is the Chargers trade back with Minnesota. That's a raw prediction right here, but that's what I would go with as far as that is concerned. And then you got the chips falling after that. Of like you said, you got Neighbors, you got your couple offensive linemen, Latham and Joe Alt that could go in the top 10. Should go in the top 10, obviously, depending to who or not. Atlanta, as far as do they drop back or do they take a solid defenseman or anyone on offense, I guess. But no, I think the other interesting thing, just kind of going back to the quarterback stuff, I saw somebody having the Raiders at 13 taking Michael Penix, and it's like yes, Michael Penix, Yeah, that game against Texas. Well, was it Texas in the semifinals where he looked absolutely fantastic? He was fantastic in that game, but that is about as good as he's ever played. And I'm not trying to downplay Michael Penix, but he's a grown man, and he's going to be a good fit in a lot of locker rooms, and he could step in and handle some pro-style offenses. But the degree of at least for Michael Penix, kind of Bo Nix, as far as progression and room to grow, isn't really there. I mean, they kind of are what they are at this point, in my opinion. So that's why I think, you're better pressed. I mean, these teams need a lot out of their roster, anyways. I mean, it's not like the Raiders take any of these quarterbacks. They've still got a lot of holes on their team, and it's not like this quarterback that they take is going to come into a good situation. That's the part that drives me nuts, whether or not you believe in Michael Penix or Bo Nix or not. They're not good enough to be a top 5 pick. They're also not good enough to come into a mediocre situation and be any better than what these teams have had, these past couple of years in the Raiders and whoever else has taken Bo Nix as far as that and these later rounds, or not later rounds, these later outside of the top 10 picks. So I would be shocked if those guys go top 20, let alone first round. Maybe Michael Penix, but I don't think Bo Nix is going first round, my friend.
Well, and I agree with that. I do. And I talked yesterday or the day before with you, the Patriots owning the second pick on Friday, which is going to be worth an Ayuk, maybe a T. Higgins. Someone might want to really offer them, someone that slipped through the cracks in the first round. There's always a handful. Mel Kiper will call 1 or 2 names for the last 10, 12 picks till Friday. And he's like, I can't believe Riley Magnuson's still on the board here. Holy cow. He's the greatest. Right here, and I used to have hair like Mel Kiper too, and so that will be interesting as well. And let's just say this, okay? Who is the best quarterback in the NFL right now, Riley?
It would be Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. And do you remember the story of Patrick Mahomes on draft day?
I guess it depends what you're asking, but I think to some degree, as far as I'm falling or what?
No, Kansas City moved up to what, 10 or 11 from, and I think they were in the middle 20. They were in the middle 20s or something. And they came all the way up. They had identified, the quarterback. And the funny thing is Texas Tech quarterbacks hadn't done well because it was just a chuck and duck run and gun system.
Yeah.
Not many of them, but they identified him. And why did Patrick Mahomes succeed? Well, of course he had Andy Reid, but here's why he succeeded. They drafted him and they called him into the office and says, Patrick, welcome to the Chiefs. And Patrick's all like Kermit the Frog, and Andy has a clipboard in his hand, and he goes to Patrick, do you know what this is? And he goes, yeah, it's a clipboard. And then he says, come on in. Alex Smith walks in the door and he goes, you see who that is? That's called Alex Smith. That is your mentor for the first year. Take the clipboard. Here's a new pen and start learning. And now, presto changeo, look at what Patrick Mahomes became.
Right, and could he have probably been better than a lot of these first-year quarterbacks? Sure, but it was fantastic for the succession plan in those situations. It's obviously there's cases where guys step right in and have success. But absolutely, and especially whether it's a mentor or just a good situation that you can step into. Like Caleb Williams isn't going to have a mentor, but now they've got a defense that is seemingly coming along. You've got 2 good receivers and a team that's ready to win, or win more games at least. So, no, I'm with you. I mean, these quarterbacks, it's going to be 4 for sure in the top 10, if not 15 or so, if anything crazy happens. But I don't know what else we got here on the menu for draft night here. We've got one thing that I was looking for as far as my Packers are concerned. Here on DraftKings, they've got position of first player drafted by each team, unless it's obvious. Then they don't have an obvious, like the Bears aren't on here. But Packers position of first player drafted in the NFL draft: offensive lineman minus 170, cornerback plus 235. We were talking the other day. Would it shock me if the Packers took an offensive lineman? No, because that position could obviously get better. But they did just sign a solid depth offensive lineman the other day. They also have been always very, very good at finding second, third, fourth round offensive linemen in their entirety, especially the last couple decades, including the last handful of years. So I think taking a swing at the Packers to skip out on an offensive lineman and go. I mean, obviously, if somebody falls that they're in love with, then they're going to take them because they typically take the best available. But I don't think it's a shoo-in that the Packers are taking an offensive lineman. Again, the fan base wants Cooper DeJean. It wouldn't even shock me if they took a cornerback that's not named Cooper DeJean or a different defensive player here. So I think it's a decent swing to take some plus money on the Packers to not take an offensive lineman and maybe go defense here in the first round.
Now, shout out to Russell Saylor, Anthony Richardson, bingo, presto, bang. And I'm going to tell you what, Russell, I was talking to a couple colleagues the last couple days, starting to get the itch already for fantasy football. I wanted to wait till after the draft to start to do my spreadsheets and stuff. How much I missed Anthony Richardson, because when he came onto the scene, it was like, holy cow, this kid was special. And the talks, trying to add a Brock Bauer at tight end if he slides, or you're going to move up a little, or the wide receivers that are there, add another offensive piece. I'm not sure how your O-line is, your right and left tackle. You would know better currently than me. Maybe we should ask Ron about that. But my point is, again, I miss Anthony, and I hope he comes back healthy. And you guys are, again, every year, the team that's supposed to win that division never wins the division. So if we're going to think the Texans are going to run it back again because they got Stephon Diggs and C.J. Stroud's not going to hit that sophomore regression, well, God bless you. I still think Jacksonville's pretty good, and I really, really think the Colts are there for a reason. I would expect the Titans to slide, but, every time we say that, teams, tend to, especially in that division, do well. So what I'm going to do here, Riley, is before we get to the board, let's have just some little fun here today.
Yeah.
We can have fun once in a while here.
Mm-hmm.
And if this thing starts to slow the stream down, well, then I will do some change in here. But we're going to do this. We're going to go there. We're going to go over here. And I'm going to do this. And then actually I will go back here for a second. Bear with me, guys. I am not good at this stuff, so I apologize. Here to here. Let's go here for now. All right, let's go back. So we get DraftKings here. This is the live board as we speak, guys. And first round again, I saw someone put what they put? They put 10,000 on Caleb Williams to go first, and I think they were going to make themselves $100 or something stupid. So yeah, do I think Caleb Williams is going first? Sure he is. So God bless you there. So we don't have to go there. Let's go to the second pick. Jaden Daniels currently on DraftKings minus 1,000. So again, the next closest guy is Drake May. I mean, we're in the consensus here, correct? That Jaden Daniels is going to. We don't have to talk about this, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So now the fun begins, guys. Drake May currently minus 290, JJ McCarthy plus 230. If Jaden Daniels 900, Marvin Harrison 1,800. So again, the Patriots are sitting around the clock. They got 10 minutes. They're fielding calls from the Minnesota Vikings. They're fielding calls from the Giants. And I think the Raiders are now out of play because they wanted to reunite Antonio Pierce with Jaden Daniels. That's not happening. So you got two teams calling. DraftKings is saying right now, the Patriots are saying thanks, but no thanks. Drake May's minus 290. Now, here's the thing. This is not minus 290 that the Patriots are going to take them, correct?
Right.
So if you have inside information or you think the Patriots are trading this pick to the Giants of Minnesota, then obviously 4, 5, and 6 get tricky. So are you into the consensus, Riley Magnuson, that Drake May is going third?
I am in that consensus. Yes. Yep. 100%.
Patriots Nation playing the banana in the tailpipe. If you believe the smoke, you believe Tom Brady. Where'd he go to school? He went to Michigan. Where'd J.J. McCarthy go? Michigan. You can get J.J. McCarthy plus 230. And I will tell you this, after the third pick, You then can turn that into a doily, a dartboard, confetti, or whatever you want. But God bless you. Go grab the plus 230 if you want. So now pick 4. Marvin Harrison Jr. at 350. Drake May at 475, who we just said is off the board. So my question to you is, they're telling us this. Arizona's not moving. They're not trading the pick. The Giants didn't offer him enough. Minnesota didn't offer him enough. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is going minus 350. Thoughts there, Riley?
I am 100% there with you on that one as well. Again, like you said, I think at the top of this show, it would have to take a boatload for Arizona to move off of 4 there. And I mean, anyone that's trying to move up, unless Arizona pulls off a shocker and takes somebody else, is probably trying to work with the Chargers at 5 to move up. So I'm with you. I think it's more likely at 4 that they take Harrison than it is the Patriots take May at 3. So I'm with you with Harrison at 4 here for sure.
Okay, and the easiest thing, just reading the tea leaves, listening and talking to outsiders and insiders here, is if Minnesota offered them the boatload, now you're going to go to 11. Not only are you going to miss out on Harrison, you're going to miss out on Neighbors, and Odunze at 9 will get to 9 is probably going to the Bears. Okay, so you're going to miss out on the top 3. So if you wanted a wide receiver for Kyler Murray, their only trade is to 6 with the Giants. All right, so what are you doing? You're going to gain some capital moving 2 spots. You're going to miss out on Harrison at 5. Maybe the Chargers take Harrison at 5. So now you're going to settle for Neighbors, which a lot of people are saying of late, Neighbors is the guy you want over Harrison.
That is the one way that it happens. I think, obviously, I'm a Big Ten guy, so I think the world of Marvin Harrison Jr., but that would be the one thing that they could do, and it wouldn't shock me, but I don't think I don't think the Giants are that desperate to move up to 4, I think is what my caveat to that would be. So I'm standing pat with Harrison at 4 there. To the Cardinals.
So, Giant fans, if you think your team is going to take a quarterback, here's your spot right here. You can get J.J. McCarthy plus 500. This is to the Giants or the Minnesota fans. I can't see Arizona moving from 4 to 11 because they're going to miss all 3 wide receivers. Okay, right. So for at this point, Arizona's only move is 2 spots to the Giants, and that will guarantee them Neighbors. So if you are a Giants fan and you got inside information and you think that you're going to move up 2 spots to get a quarterback, there's your McCarthy at plus 500 there. Now we get to the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. And I've heard a lot of the last day or two. I've heard the Latham kid here. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. I think it's between these. If they stay there, I think it's between those 2 offensive linemen, Latham or Alt. I like I said, I think this would be the spot where someone would have to get aggressive if they want McCarthy there. But I'm torn. As far as if they stay there, I think it's Latham over Alt as opposed to the former there. So it's Latham or McCarthy for me, I guess, at this spot. I'm ruling out Joe Alt on this one.
Okay. Now we go to 6 in the Giants. So if the Giants don't move up, if the Giants didn't move up, so we got Harrison at 4. Chargers don't move down. They take Alt or Latham. I have heard Neighbors all day here for the Giants at 6, taking a wide receiver.
And I let me walk that back. I meant Joe Alt as my. It sounded like Joe Alt was going over Latham. So I misspoke on that one. So
okay.
But Neighbors 6. I think so. I think that's where I'm going as well. I think it's. I don't think they have any leverage to move back. I personally think the Giants need a lot more than just one wide receiver to complete their team. But I don't think they have the same type of leverage to move back here and get a boatload of capital that some of these other teams do. So I think they take advantage and take one of these receivers and try and. I mean, that's really your last ditch effort to try and make something out of Daniel Jones is kind of the consensus there. So I think that's what we see here.
Who's at 7 right now?
7, Tennessee.
All right. So they got Joe Alt. So they have Joe Alt sliding. Alt's the pick there. I don't see them taking a wide receiver. We got Neighbors probably off the board. Go ahead.
So what is that? What's the odds on Joe Alt there at 7?
Minus 190.
Interesting. So I'm seeing also on DraftKings, first offensive lineman selected is Joe Alt at minus 250. Second offensive lineman is Latham there. So that's kind of saying that this is suggesting if we're getting Joe Alt as the first offensive lineman there, and he's the favorite at 7, then the Chargers aren't taking an offensive lineman is kind of what we're looking at here, right?
Well, Latham was favored in what, the 4? Well, 5, the 5 spot where the Chargers are. So that would lead you to believe what? That the Chargers trade back?
Well, if he's plus 240 at number 5. So I mean, if we're looking at Joe Alt as the favorite, odds-on favorite at 7, and odds-on favorite as the first offensive lineman taken at minus 250, then I don't know. Are we talking about maybe we're looking at the Chargers moving back almost a little more certain there that the Chargers are moving back then?
I think that's what it says.
Yeah.
You know, they have no wide receivers, though. You know something?
True.
You know, the funny thing is, and call me stupid and crazy here, they're probably hoping Arizona trades out and it goes, McCarthy goes 4, and the Chargers, all this talk of moving back, and the Chargers end up with Marvin Harrison. So you got the Herbert, Marvin Harrison hookup.
No, whether they move out or they just decide to take one of these receivers, and then we're getting a shocker with Malik Neighbors as the 5th pick, but I mean they got him at plus 450 for the number 5 pick. So I think it sounds like the tea leaves there are saying the Chargers are moving back, and Joe Alt's winding up as the first offensive lineman off the board at 7. If these odds are talking correctly here.
All right. At 8 is Atlanta, right?
Yep, Atlanta.
Okay, so I have had them penciled in with Dallas Turner forever. There's been some late steam on the Latu guy.
Latu.
Latu. That's usually what I am most of the time. I'm late. So Latu. So thoughts there. I have them penciled in for Turner. Late steam on Latu. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, this one, I mean, I was seeing some mock draft, which I don't pay too close attention to mock drafts all that time, but seeing them as one of the potential trading back spots. Dallas, if they're staying there, I was seeing a lot of Dallas Turner myself there. So I'll say they stay there. I don't know that they're, especially if someone moves in at 5 to take over the Charger spot, maybe there's not as much leverage to have somebody jump in there and take some action there. Because, I mean, that's the other thing where I saw this as the spot where the Vikings would jump up and take McCarthy if he's somehow still there. But I don't see the Falcons really having as much leverage there at that point, because then, 9 and 10 here don't really need a quarterback. So why would the Vikings jump up to 8 there? So I don't think that's going to happen, because, I mean, I think you got plus 1,100 there for J.J. McCarthy at 8 if someone else were to move it up there to take him there. So I'm with you on Dallas Turner still going there, and then obviously Latu's could happen as well. But I'll go with Dallas Turner as the number 8 pick there for sure.
Who's got 9? The Bears,
that is,
right?
Chicago's actual pick. Yeah, yep.
All right. Well, I'm going to pencil this one in. This is definitely one of the props that I have. Call me crazy here. I'm going to Dunze here.
Yeah, no, I think so, especially because, I mean, they're trying to give as many options for Caleb Williams. Not only that, but you don't know how much shelf life you got out of Keenan Allen coming over there. It sounds like he's ready to go and could give him a couple good years there. But obviously, if you can get, stick around with DJ Moore, and then, you got Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze for the next 10 years. That's, I think, something they'd be interested in doing. If somebody were to have fallen there, I mean, again, there's not a ton of, defensive picks that are dropping there. And I think the wild card here, and I don't know what his odds would be, is if, they like Cole Kmet a lot. The wild card here is if they decide to somehow dish out Cole Kmet somewhere else and bring in Brock Bowers as the 9 pick there and get real fireworks with it. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going. Yeah, I mean, he's not the favorite. Byron Murphy is plus 145 that I'm seeing over here. That's what's on this screen in front of us here, right? But I'm with you. I'm everything I've heard and Bears fans' consensus is also Roma Dunze. So whether that means anything or not, I don't know. But Roma Dunze was the kind of the consensus, at least for a long time, that I've been hearing for Chicago at 9.
Now, Byron Murphy played where?
He was from Texas.
Okay. And position?
Yeah. He's D-line, D-tackle.
Why would he be the favorite?
And just loading up on defense, I guess, unless the Bears decide to trade back with somebody and somebody's dying to get some Byron Murphy in their life. I guess that would be the if I don't know, maybe what's Cincinnati pick? I mean, are we going to see a Trey Hendrickson trade here and Chicago wants Trey Hendrickson and they give up the 9 pick and get Trey Hendrickson or something like that and the Bengals slide into 9 or something? I'm just spitballing here, but I don't see the Bears taking something like that. That was a wild spitball for me there, but so, I don't know. I'm just trying to get wild with it. You know what I mean?
What pick does the Bengals have?
They've got 18, I believe.
Do you know who they are absolutely 1,000% enamored? They want their saliva and they can't get there. They got to move up 9 spots. You were talking about them. They want Brock Bowers. They want the tight end.
Right. And let's see. I mean, who's got where'd I go here?
Is it the Jets at 10?
Jets are at 10. The I don't know if the consensus is, but a lot of people are saying the Jets, with the Aaron Rodgers trade, want to get some picks back. So that wouldn't shock me if they move up to 10. But if somebody else is in dying for Brock Bowers, I mean, the Colts could be aggressive and try and get Brock Bowers themselves. So that would be if someone's dying to get Brock Bowers, that is where that leverage would come from. Even at, if someone's going crazy and wants to give Atlanta at 8 something for moving up and get Brock Bowers, but that seems a little far-fetched. Maybe not far-fetched, but still seems a little steep there. But I don't know. That seems like maybe the fireworks in this 8 through 12 spot is maybe someone getting aggressive to get Brock Bowers or somebody.
Well, the squeaky wheel gets the oil sometimes. We saw A.J. Brown. We've heard, obviously T. Higgins wants a trade. Ayuk wants a trade, as you talked about the other kid from Cincinnati. So, again, these guys could be part of trades, as you said. Here, I'll give you the veteran. Let us switch spots, and we'll take a swing at one of the rooks.
Right. And, I mean, Trey Hendrickson's, he's obviously proven himself to be an absolute freak as far as the pass rusher is concerned. So somebody could be really enamored and trying to get, paying top dollar for him and pick swap or something along with it. So, no, and then at 10, you've got Jets right now, but I saw a lot of people saying Colts moving up into that spot there potentially.
Let's stop right there because the Colts are another team that wants Brock Bowers, our buddy Russell the Sailor. I can guarantee, I can't see any chats right now, but I can guarantee Russell, if Brock Bowers is available and the 3 wide receivers are gone, aren't you guys going to jump through hoops to add Brock Bowers here? I mean,
that's kind of, I don't know if I should be saying it's a consensus, but that Jets pick there, if they're trying to recoup some draft picks, they don't have to fall too far, and they get the 15th pick, the Jets there, and they still get another, maybe a 3rd round pick or something like that. I'm curious. Other than that, I'm curious. Do Denver and the Raiders get aggressive and climb up in this draft or something? I don't know, or maybe they move back because they need a. Russell says, not me personally. I want some defense, which I also wouldn't be shaking my stick at either. I mean, they've got a lot of options they could do there. The one thing though, bringing up the Broncos and Raiders. They've got, if you go over to, I think it's draft team specials, and they go by division, the Raiders are first position of first player drafted, minus 110, so that's kind of picking off the people who think, maybe a little Michael Penix action. It's either they get aggressive or, that's, some easy chance to take them getting offensive lineman or defense or something. But same thing with the Broncos. plus 125 quarterback, first position of first player drafted. So either they're getting aggressive and moving up, or they're doing what we say they shouldn't be doing and taking, Bo or Penix there at 12-13, or we've got some chances for them to, some good odds to take a defense or offensive lineman for these two teams here at 12 and 13.
Again, I'm not going to go through the whole first round here. I thought the
Yeah.
top 10 to 12 were definitely interesting. I'm going to pull this. We're going to get out of the big screen here. Add some thoughts that you might like, that you might see, or you've heard of, or anything, that you might want to see take a shot here, or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the Rams do. Like I said, excuse me, I know some people are saying they take the quarterback successor for Matt Stafford. I don't think it's as easy as taking they shouldn't be taken at that spot. If they want a second round pick on one of these guys, then that's a different story. Some of these other quarterbacks that are left, but there's not really any of those like diamond in the rough guys that we see, at least being a late first round type option, like a Jordan Love or anything like that, where he's going to be sitting for a couple 3 years or something like that. So I'm curious. I think the Rams just take whatever's best available at 19 if they don't make any trades. Like I was saying with the Packers, I'm curious to see what they do. I wouldn't be opposed to anything really, other than obviously quarterback, receiver, tight end is not a need. Same thing with running back. So offensive lineman or anything on defense, I'd be okay with. I want the Cooper DeJean Express from the Big Ten country, just a short trip over to Green Bay. But I think I saw odds of cornerback odds. Cooper DeJean as the third corner taken. I think the first two, you've got minus 155, Quinion Mitchell, first cornerback selected, Terrion Arnold, minus 110, and then third cornerback selected, Cooper DeJean, plus 130. So I don't know if that's a little too good to be true there, and maybe Nate Wiggins or Kool-Aid flies up somebody's board or something along those. But I don't know. I'm interested in some type of secondary for the Packers there. They have done a really good job of finding some diamond in the roughs outside of the first round, so maybe they go offensive lineman. But I'm almost kind of expecting defense, unless they get wild with it and partake in the fireworks and move up or down or something like that. So other than that, I'm curious if anyone else gets aggressive that we haven't really been talking about. Like I was saying, Denver or the Raiders, who are kind of in an awkward spot here with their rosters and needing a quarterback. And if they're not taking a quarterback, then they're obviously trying to build up that roster. So, other than that, I don't have too strong of thoughts out in the 20s there. And I don't think there's any of these teams in the 20s I don't think would get too aggressive there, other than maybe I don't know if Pittsburgh is dying for another quarterback, but they've obviously got two different options this upcoming year, so we'll see. But I don't have anything crazy other than that. So what about you?
Speaking of Pittsburgh, still the favorite to land Ayuk. And Russell brought up something that I want to touch upon that hasn't been discussed. And it sounds so crazy, but as they were letting, Big Mike go, they were letting Keenan Allen go. They were the thought of letting Boza and Mac go as well, and really cutting some salary here. He brings up Herbert. Harbaugh does the unthinkable at 5, and he says Herbert to Minnesota for 11 and 23, and then some more first round picks, and they have now the QB. In other words, he takes McCarthy, and they have the QB, and they're starting at ground zero. And Russell, I will say this, because this did cross my mind. If I was New England, and I got even an inkling that Herbert was available, what would it cost? Because again, then we can at least get instant credibility back, where we got the quarterback finally. Yeah, you're going to have to pay him. We get that part. We got to pay him. But I would take Herbert in a heartbeat, and I would give the Chargers whatever they wanted. I mean, I don't think they would have to move up. Actually, they could move up 2 spots, and I don't know how we would do it, because again, they wouldn't have to move up to get McCarthy. I don't know. But Russell, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it would almost be better if you and I had different opinions on Justin Herbert, but you and I are two of the leaders of the Justin Herbert fan base, I would say, as far as non-Chargers fans are concerned. I don't think 11 and 23 would be enough for him. Resetting the rookie clock is huge. I'm also not enamored enough with JJ McCarthy there. I think Herbert and Harbaugh are going to do amazing things. But to your point, though, if other teams sniffed that was on the table and it took 11 and 23, and I'm the Patriots, I'm giving up the number 3 pick. I'm giving up number one pick next year, and a couple second round picks to get Justin Herbert, if that's what we're talking about here. So it's worth the conversation 100%. I don't think 11 and 23 would be enough, though. Honestly, if no one else was interested and that's what the Vikings are doing, I think they would have to pony up at least one more pick, maybe. Not to say that isn't at all possible. I just don't think 11 and 23 is enough. I would throw in another pick, and maybe you can get the job done. But I'm also not enamored enough with J.J. McCarthy to think that he's a no doubt franchise quarterback. He could be great. Add him next year's one, and I'm with you. We're having the conversation for sure. Again, if they're in love with J.J. McCarthy and they think he's a no doubt, franchise quarterback, then that's a totally different story, and you're resetting the franchise or the quarterback clock, and then we're having a good conversation for sure there. So obviously, it depends on what your opinion of Herbert and McCarthy is, I would say, but. You and I wish one of us was an anti-Justin Herbert guy, and then we could have this conversation. But you and I are the leaders of the Herbert fan base here for non-Chargers fans. But no, it's a good conversation.
No, and so Patriots talk to Harbaugh and the Chargers and say, "Hey, is he available?" They should. Yeah, if the price is right. Patriots trade 3. They get the 11-23. They get next year's first from Minnesota, and they'll have them throw in a second or a third maybe this year. You want May, this is what it's going to cost. And if they want him, then they pick up the phone and they go to the Chargers and say, all right, we'll take Herbert off your hands and we'll just give you what Minnesota just gave us. And we'll take the quarterback and you take Harbaugh. And he says, only if Harbaugh believes what he says about JJ. And you know what? Harbaugh's got a 5-year deal, and he's not going anywhere. So that's why I was surprised he stopped when they cut the Keenan Allens, when they cut the big Mikes. It looked like they were thinking going defense as well, Bosa and Mack, and just cut, a full rebuild. And Russ, this is exactly where it would be, where, all right, we're going to go Michigan here. We're going to take McCarthy, and then we're going to take Blake Corum when he comes, and then we're going to fill in the holes. I think his under-over is like 90. It's dropped down to 80, so that's early third round maybe for Blake Corum. But again, you now have the trade piece of Herbert, and there'd be people lining up the door. I'd be the first one at the door. I'd be like, I'm in. Give me.
Yeah. I think people would be upset because the Patriots would have some leverage there. So and to Russell's point, if Harbaugh truly believes that he's that good of a prospect, then sure, we're having that conversation. And so that's really the question to answer. I mean, in my opinion, Harbaugh could just be trying to talk up his former quarterback so that his draft stock rises and gets himself paid. Because I don't think McCarthy's ready to step in and be a day one starter in the NFL either. So then you got to figure out who's the day one starter in the Chargers, which obviously they could figure out. But no, I think we got the top 3-4 locked down, and then the Chargers maybe could be the gateway to this thing getting wild and crazy here in the first round.
No, it is, and don't forget, Harbaugh took the Chargers job. One of the main reasons, other than the warm weather and living in LA, of course, it was because he had a quarterback in Justin Herbert. So, again, I think it's more, hyping up his kids, and God bless him. That's what, he had him there, won a national championship undefeated. So God bless him to them. Russell says, yes, I am rooting for chaos tonight. It just takes one move no one expected. Yep. One move and the whole board gets flipped. That's why these, people that are spending $1 bazillion on these props, God bless you. Back in COVID 2020, we had nothing better to do. I get that. And now it's just taken a whole nother level. 4 years later, the books have gotten savvy. Las Vegas shuts down last night. These books are not open. They're not taking them up to the draft because there's too much information that's going to start to be leaking out, of course. So go ahead.
One more question, and then we can move on. Let me ask you this. If Minnesota somehow is left standing at the altar and they somehow cannot get their hands on J.J. McCarthy, one way or another, I think they would get aggressive. What happens then? Do they move back? Do they just take whoever's there? I mean, are they just Are we just kind of laughing at Minnesota if they're stuck without anybody? Do they get desperate and take one of these other quarterbacks? What does Minnesota do if they get somehow strike out and cannot land J.J. McCarthy?
Well, I don't know if it was rumors. I don't know if it was blowing smoke up. You know what? Very comfortable and confident that they could do a year with Sam Darnold here.
Right.
And here's the funny: if they don't land a May, who McCown is connected with in high school, I think then JJ, Mr. Justin Jefferson, is going to try to force his way out, like Randy Moss did, like Stephon Diggs did. I can't be wasting a year of my career with Sam Darnold. And then we're going to go through this again. Russell says next to Minnesota at 22. It does make sense. If I missed out on, I got Penix over McCarthy. So, and if you want the truth, I'll take my shot and move down and take Penix over May. I mean, obviously, I wanted Jaden Daniels for the Patriots, and sitting at 3 2 months ago, we were getting Jaden Daniels. Now, of course, he's stuck at number 2. I would take Russ. I don't know if you heard that. You probably did throughout the week, and I know the Patriots staff and the board don't know the board like they should, and they don't have the confidence, and they're settling for whoever slid to them. But if I'm the Patriots, very simply, I make the deal with Minnesota. I hold out to the 9-minute and 45-second. I'm getting 3 firsts. I'm getting a third this year. I'm getting something else. And then at 11, what I'm doing is I'm going to sneak back into 5 where the Chargers are, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to get a Dunze. I'm going to go get a Dunze because Harrison is gone. And then what I'm going to do is at 23, I'll know the board. And if I have to move from 23 forward, I'm getting Penix. I'm going to take my shot with Penix and a Dunze. I'll take a year of it. We got Brissett for the first 4 to 6 games. We'll see how Penix is. And now Friday, we have the second pick.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest pick in the board. And my point is, you could call Cincinnati. I want no part of T. Higgins. My point is, you can call the 49ers and say, all right, you said you wanted a second. We're sitting with the second pick on Friday. We'll take Ayuk. And now you can obviously going to have to pay Ayuk. But now you're sitting with Penix Jr. You're sitting with a Dunze. You're sitting with Ayuk. You got Hunter Henry. You got Pop Douglas. You got Kendrick Bourne. You're starting something. You still got Stevenson. I think we had a show with Brady Tinker earlier this week. He thinks Zeke is going back to Dallas, and I saw he was meeting with them yesterday. Russell says New England will be Washington East. Yes, we will. We'll be back here talking a year later. Me and Riley. I'll have less hair, by the way. But we'll be talking Patriots in the top 3 or 4 again next year. So, again, we could talk for hours. We just talked for 50 minutes here. Tonight's board, NBA, anything grab your eye? Anything jumping out at you?
As far as NBA, we got this Cleveland-Orlando series. This is the one that I've been probably the most wrong with, I guess I would say, as far as expecting the Magic to have put a better fight into either one of these first 2 games. I kind of expect Orlando to win one of these 2 games here, so I'm kind of sitting myself out of this one. If Cleveland wins this one again, then I guess I'm kind of going in on Game 4 with Orlando. If Orlando wins this one, I'm probably going back over to the Cleveland side of things in Game 4. So this is kind of one where I'm waiting to see what happens tonight with Cleveland or Orlando, and then whatever happens tonight, I might go the opposite on Game 4. But this is one that I was expecting the Magic to put a little better fight up in here. So I'm not going to say I'm going all in on Orlando tonight because it wouldn't surprise me if they lose that one and then come back in Game 4 and win that one. So the other one, Denver and LA. I mean, you got the Lakers coming back. They've been hell bent. If anything, I could see you got LeBron complaining about the officials, and typically whenever he does that, he gets some calls going his way the next night. So you've got the Lakers -1. So I kind of feel the same way as far as there's going to be a split out of these 2 games in LA with Denver there. So I'm almost kind of waiting on both of these 2 series to see what happens here tonight. And then another one where I might switch and go the opposite way in Game 4 with the Lakers and Denver, because I don't think the Lakers get 2 in a row here off of Denver. Denver's just too solid. I mean, LA had their chance there in Game 2 to get them to make this a good series here, and I don't think they've got enough firepower. So I'm going to go and wait on both of these two series tonight, unfortunately, and go the opposite way of whatever happens tonight in Cleveland and in Cleveland, Orlando, and Denver and LA. And then New York and Philly, I want to believe in the Sixers, and I do think that they come back. I mean, Embiid obviously made a somewhat of a guarantee that they're still going to win this series. I don't think they're going to win the series. It wouldn't shock me if they fall in this one tonight. I'll go with the Sixers getting this one and starting to make this a good series, because this is a good chance of, especially with some of the narratives coming out, for the NBA to make some money out of this series here. So I'll go with the Sixers winning. Don't know if I've got them covering 5.5 though. This one, we got a low total in this one. This one could be another tight, ugly kind of game here. So I'll go with the Sixers winning, but I don't know if I'm interested in them covering or not. Any thoughts from you out of these three games here?
Well, usually game three, what do all these teams have in common? They were playing on the road, right? So what did the home teams do? They held serve. So this used to be an autoplay. You take the home teams down 0-2 and you play them in the first half. The sense of urgency, the feeding off of the crowd. At worst, you're going to get, 24 minutes of solid basketball. Maybe they run out of gas. Maybe they falter. But again, I can see Philly. They've been right there in the first half. The Lakers have won the first two halves. The one that scares me is Cleveland, Orlando. I could see Cleveland laying an egg today, Orlando having the big game, and then Cleveland say, all right, enough's enough. We'll take game 4 and we're going to close you out in 5. But I feel most confident about the Sixers in the first half tonight. That's the play I like the most tonight.
I like that. Yeah, that one. The crowd especially is going to be rabid in that one, and clamoring for them to get this win. So I'm with you on Philly, especially first half. I think they get the win, but I'm a little torn on the 5.5. We've had some low totals for the most part here these couple of games. So I'm kind of waiting, sitting back on this one. Other than like you said, maybe some good first half action. But as far as full games are concerned, kind of sitting back and waiting and seeing what happens here in Game 3.
Yeah, and I'm just going to pull up the DraftKings odds here for the NHL tonight. Tampa Bay and Florida, basically Lightning minus 115, Florida minus 105. Two great games. Florida wins in overtime. Tampa down 0-2. I think Florida is the better team. Bob's been standing on his head. I'm going to stay far, far away from that. Carolina and the Islanders, Hurricanes minus 170. Islanders got their heart ripped out of them, up 3-0 in game 2, and the Canes come all the way back to score 5 unanswered there. So I can't lay that number, 5.5, 6 totals. Goodness gracious. The Hurricanes puck line minus 1.5 is plus 160, yet they're minus 170. They're telling me 3-2 again, Hurricanes. Florida, Tampa, first 1-4. Does Tampa steal one? They played great hockey. Florida's the better team. I'm going to just go over 6. Florida, Tampa, throw the puck out. First 1-4 wins the game. How's that?
I like it. This one, and again, I'm obviously not the hockey expert here, but I've been watching these games. Have not had as much confidence in these, or thinking I know what's going to happen in these ones than I have in the past few days here. So, the Islanders obviously had their chance in game 2. So their crowd should be, in a frenzy, but Carolina's just really, really freaking good. So. I'll go with you on the over in Florida and Tampa, though. That one's been a fun one, couple games to watch. But like you said, Florida's just a better team. Would have respected a Lightning minus 130 or something like that, or 135, 140. So not saying they can't get it done, obviously, but would not shock me if Florida takes care of business again here tonight.
No, me too. I think there was mostly day baseball today. Let's give you some quick updates as we speak.
We got one game left
Kansas
on the board.
City 2-1. Yankees and Oakland. Wood versus Cortez. Cortez has been amazing of late. Minus 265 and under over a 7.5 juiced over. Yankees minus 125 to the run line. Remember, if you run into the window to do that, You're only guaranteed 24 outs. So if you're batting in the bottom of the ninth, that means it's tied or you're trailing. So just be careful there. If I had to play the game, I would lean Yankees run line, but I'm not playing the game. So don't take it from me there. Dodgers up 1-0 in the fifth at Washington. Padres 8-4 in the eighth at Colorado, and Royals 2-1 against Toronto there. Closing thoughts, sir.
Closing thoughts, nothing too crazy. I think it's a good chance to say, as far as those MLB games, maybe take a seat on that Yankees Athletics game or anything else going on. It's not the main show in town tonight, so maybe some traps potentially there. Like you said, not playing it there tonight. So other than that, I mean, want to have some fun with the draft, that's fine. But, you don't have to be Mel Kiper trying to predict every single trade here tonight. So, don't get too crazy and, pick some goofy spots that, kind of make sense to you. Not goofy spots, but, specific spots that kind of make sense to you. You can find some value in. So, easy way to have fun in certain ways that way. But other than that, I don't have anything too crazy. Ready for some fun this weekend as far as the draft and some more playoff action is concerned, my friend. That's about all I've got today.
And lastly, on Minnesota making the trade weeks ago to get 11-23, everyone thought that was the move. Now they were going to move up to 3 or 4 to get into the Drake May sweepstakes. And I'm just going to say this, guys. If this trade, this dynamic trade, this big move of a trade was going to happen, it would have happened a lot sooner. A trade of this magnitude probably, I mean, Houston last year, my point is it usually doesn't happen on the draft, never mind when you're on the clock, because that's too many moving parts. In other words, now the Patriots slide to 11. Now, unless they were going to go full rebuild and they were hoping for Alt to slide, or they were going to get the kid from Penn State, so they got their tackles. And then they were going to look at 23 to add another defensive piece along the other side of Christian Gonzalez. And then knowing they have the second pick on Friday, plus they got Minnesota's now. So again, or maybe they don't. But my point is, don't expect fireworks. Fireworks happened when we didn't expect it with the Eagles, the A.J. Brown trade, then the Lions moving up and stealing Gibbs. And that's the fun part. I don't think we're going to see it here early tonight. Not that it might not happen, and not that we're not going to have some fun here. But as I said a long time ago in this show, it just takes one move that no one ever thought of, just to make these guys slide a little more. And someone sitting, Mel Kiper, I said it at the start of the show, Mel Kiper, the last 10 picks of the draft, the last hour of the show, he's going to call out one name 10 straight times. Jeez, Riley, I can't believe this guy's still here. And so it's the same scenario, just 2024, not 2023. So have some fun with it. Me and Riley will probably be back tomorrow afternoon. 2:30, we have Matt Grissom and Quentin Mills, the NCAA Insiders NCAA baseball show. I will then be on with Andrew McGinnis on his channel to talk some NHL. And Riley and I will be on the closing bell. If not, that means me and Scott Webb did a baseball show earlier in the day. And me and Riley will be back early Saturday morning to give you the whole card and the first 2-round breakdown, and Saturday, the last 3 rounds. So thank you guys. Russell Saylor, thanks for all the questions, comments. You're the best. To everyone out there, have some fun, enjoy the draft, and we will see you tomorrow.